Welcome to Ironically Serious, Amanda.
Thanks for having me, Taylor. I'm glad to reconnect. I know we've been following each other and knowing of each other since before the conference and now afterwards. And so I'm just glad to get to talk to you again.
I know I'm really grateful that I was able to go to Boss Vision Conference to represent Dubsado because it gave me a chance just to see you in all of your glory and see what you do outside of Instagram. Because sometimes with Instagram, we follow people for a while and then I don't know, it's hard sometimes to make connections just digitally if you don't already have like a client connection or some other kind of
Or you've,
opportunity that brings you together.
yeah,
So
or
I'm
you've not
like
like met in
that.
person before.
Exactly, and obviously I'm in Houston, so I'm not too far from you, but
Yeah.
it was so cool getting to see how you executed that, and you were sick when it all happened, so I was like, "You are a superwoman."
Girl, I look back at that. I have a lot to unpack about last year's conference, but I probably should have been in the hospital. I'm pretty sure I just had pneumonia. Like I
Stop.
was so sick. And yeah, I have of a lot to say about last year. But
Oh, no.
I was so sick and I think just through the power of adrenaline and a lot of medication and my husband, like he literally just like helped prop me up all weekend and it was amazing. But yeah.
Well, I mean, I knew you were sick, but I think you did an amazing job. So
Thank you.
obviously I haven't been to any of your other conferences, so I don't have anything to compare it to. But I mean,
Right.
I think too, it speaks to like your people that you pull in and that, help and also execute and the speakers. Like it probably took some weight off of you that people were there to help facilitate what you were hoping to achieve.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it did.
For those who don't even know what we're talking about, can you explain Dallas Girl Gang?
Yeah. So what we've been talking about is Boss Vision Conference that I host here in Dallas every fall for the last 7, 8 years. And it's really the only like Dallas based female founder entrepreneur conference. People come from all over Texas, all over the country sometimes, but it's pretty local. Um, and that's a branch of my company called Dallas Girl Gang. And I started that almost 8 years ago, started it as a passion project, as a Facebook group while I was a full-time teacher teaching
Oh,
music.
wow.
And then the long and the short of it is built the business up, also started business coaching, left teaching in the end of 2020 and been doing this ever since. Also started a marketing agency a year and a half ago with a co-founder and yeah.
Okay, I'm actually so interested in this because I thought clearly I didn't do enough research. I'm just kidding. I thought maybe you had started a business first and then Dallas Girl Gang came next because that's often how it goes, right? Someone starts a business, they
my
want
my
community,
journey
and
is
then it's
very
born.
opposite. Yes.
That is nuts. What did you like music wise? Was it school or
Mhm.
yeah?
Yeah, so my background, I went to school for music education. You have to pick a primary, so vocal was my primary. I'm primarily
Okay.
a vocalist. Um, and then you get certified kindergarten through 12th grade or pre-K at the time through 12th grade. And I taught elementary music for 95% of my career, little kids and, you know,
Fun.
Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and recorders and the whole thing. So it was great until it wasn't. And then I started a business on accident and that became what I loved more. And teaching got crazy and I wanted out. So yeah, that's like a little bit of that journey.
What really made you want to even start Dallas Girl Gang? What was like the desire happening or what were you running into in your personal life that made you do that?
So after college, my husband and I stayed in Arkansas. We went to a small school in Arkansas, and he's from there. Stayed there for a couple of years. Moved back to Dallas area. Uh, End of or like fall of 2016. I got a teaching job. Um, and we left a church that my husband was working at, and it ended badly, and so we just decided to move. And
Mm.
my family still lives here. So we were like, that's kind of a natural, like, oh well, we just should go here. So we did, and it
And you're
was
from
long.
Dallas?
Yeah, so I grew up
Okay.
in McKinney, technically,
Yep.
which is a little suburb up north. Um, but it was like starting over. We're really lonely. My family was here, of course, but we'd also just gone through something really hard, like emotionally, physically, spiritually, all the things. And uh, a lot of the people that I grew up with, like, were either not friends anymore or they moved, right? And
Mhm.
all of our friends from college were from either Texas or Arkansas, or like, now they moved to another country or like something like that. And so we were starting over, didn't really have friends. I was like dabbling in entrepreneurship through like direct sales companies.
Mhm.
And then I wanted to try to be a blogger, which was an epic fail and so funny.
Haven't we all? At
We
some
all
point.
have. My blog was called Worth More Than Gold, which I still think is like not a
Love.
bad name. Love that. But it was not my thing. I found these events on Eventbrite and Facebook and Instagram, would go and connect with like a very small population of people, and then realize the rest of the people that were there were like not my vibe, and I was clearly
Mhm.
not their vibe, and I didn't feel welcome, and I felt very like less than.
Mm.
And you probably get this, like, Houston is very different than Dallas, but big cities in this country have their own vibe, and like the pockets of women, it's like you have to dress this way, you have to talk this way, you have to act this way. And I was like, this sucks. Like, these girls are mean. And I did click with some people. We wanted to stay in touch. So I started a Facebook group because I was like,
Mhm.
I think more people would be interested in this. And they were. There wasn't really anything like this back then. This was almost 8 years ago. Facebook was popping in
Yeah.
2017. So I met these people, and I remember like that weekend I was like, okay, well, let's just like make a group on Facebook and see if people want to like meet up, see if people want to go to brunch or talk or connect or support each other online and stuff. And then I was on Pinterest looking at something, and I was like getting some inspiration, and I was like, what do I call this group? And I saw this picture that was like support your local girl gang, and I was like, ooh,
Cute.
Dallas Girl Gang. And so named it, just hit publish. Like, I had no business plan. I did not think I was starting a business. I was like, I'm a teacher, but also like this is for fun, and I need friends, and I want to network. And
Mm.
that's really where it started. And a lot of other people felt the same way and still do. And that's why they like finding us. And frankly, it's very searchable on Facebook. If you type in like women's community in Dallas, we pop up, you know,
Mhm.
having the word Dallas or girl in it. So
Genius.
like that traction and that word of mouth, frankly, of people that were in it saying, sending it to their friends, sending it to their coworkers, like, you need to get in here. People are getting jobs, they're finding roommates, they're finding friends, they're building their business. And so that's really where it started.
I love that. I love that it was not intended to be what it is now, and that's always the coolest part when you just publish something and then all of a sudden it's like that's the beginning of the story right there.
Yeah. It's
When did
it's been really
you
special. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, when did you realize that it was more than just a Facebook group?
Probably I can't remember if it was the end of 2018 or beginning of 2019. Really, that year and a half, I just like rolled with it. I managed our Facebook
Mm.
group. People invited their friends. People found it organically. I didn't even start an Instagram for us until like a year later, which is so funny. Then people had there was demand. There was, hey, are we gonna meet up? Hey, are we gonna do this? And I was like, if that's what you guys want, that sounds great. Like, let's do it. Started hosting some events, and it was tickets were to pay for what we were doing to break even. And it
Right.
wasn't a thing I was making money with. Around the time I just mentioned, I realized I'm putting a lot of time into this. I'm putting a lot of effort. Oh my gosh, there's like 2,000 people in this group. What? Hold on. And I had a woman, her name is Dr. Courtney Baker. Shout out to Courtney. She came to one of our events, and I think it was January of 2019. And she was in the Facebook group, came to one of the events. It was like a little panel chat about business owners at Blue Mesa Grill. when they used to have this like free quesadilla bar. So it was all free. I think I charged like $10 for tickets or like $5.
Wow.
But all the like they just ordered their own drinks and then the quesadilla bar, the chips, it was like all free. I don't know if they still do that, but um so she came up to me and said, "Hey, you have something really special here. Who's helping you like grow this or figure it out?" And I was like, "Google? Like nobody?" And she said, and she just scooped me up like this baby bird, like, "Oh, you precious child." I'm like 26 at the time. And she's like, "I would love to help you. And here's why." She built a company called Kids Care Home Health. It's like nationwide now, thousands of employees, multi-million-dollar company. And now she like is out of the day to day and like paints
Mhm.
all the time. Like she just does what she wants
Ugh,
and it's awesome.
love that.
I think she will turn 50 soon, actually. And it was amazing. And she taught me, we didn't, and it wasn't even like, and I think a lot of people are like, okay, let's sit down. Here's this business plan. Here's step A, step B. It was always this uh, dump it all on the table, see what works. Okay, let's try that
Mhm.
again next time, see what works. And she helped me monetize. She helped me build a revenue model to it. She helped me kind of structure it. Um, and she was my mentor for at least a year or two. She kind of took several female founders, small business owners like me under her wing during that period of time, and several of us for free because she was just like, I want to give back to these women
Wow.
that I really see value in. She was building her personal brand. She was writing a book at the time. She wanted the experience too because she hadn't branched out in a personal brand way, and it was amazing. So that moment, I was like, when she approached me, I was like, oh, okay, so she sees that. Okay, I guess that's what we've got going on here.
That's incredible. Do you feel like that's almost ignited mentorship in you with other women because you had a leader that helped you? Like, I could definitely see that being a part of your mission now.
Especially now, yes, because here in 2025, I am not trying to go back to being a coach. I'm not trying to go
Right.
do that. I'm not making a million digital products. I'm not doing that. I am focusing on working with founders one on one in like a VIP day capacity,
Mm.
helping teach them how to be a better CEO, how to be a better founder, and structure everything around your life, not letting the business run you, things like that. That's what I love. And yes, I think it's definitely, I think of it now and I'm like, I do want to like tell people the warning signs or help them avoid
Mhm.
pitfalls or like, wait a second, that's probably a bad idea, or hey, you're missing this, like try that.
Mhm.
um I will say, and I mean, you're pretty honest and candid too, so I'm gonna be, and I usually am. When I was coaching several years ago, it wasn't for that reason. I didn't have the wow, she mentored me. Now I want to mentor other people. I was excited to like teach other people what I knew, but I was more focused on wow, people want to know what I know. Frankly, I want to make money from that. And I do want to
Mhm.
help people. But I also want to scale my business because I was teaching. I wanted to get out and I knew that was a way and I did. But then now I don't even coach anymore. So
Yeah, the intention was different at the time, which makes so much
yeah.
sense. And I think there's a lot of pressure though in our space, digitally to okay, you've grown a successful business or you are growing a successful business, now coach everyone else on it. And it's, some people are really great at it and some people shouldn't be doing it or the intention is like you just said, it's not quite there, which is fine, but in hindsight you kind of realize okay, that actually wasn't the right intention to coach or mentor or whatever it is.
And I had a coach at the time and she was amazing. But and I'll say this, it doesn't sound as like grubby as I probably made it sound. It was a natural kind of next step. Like people were asking me, they
Right.
they wanted to work with me, they wanted to learn. And when I started working with this business coach, she was like, let's scale that. Like you have a skill set and you have this. And I'm like, great. Um I there's a lot of things we could talk about this forever. I won't, but there's a lot of things I wish I would have done differently, and there's a part of me that in some instances I had no business um coaching in some of the ways that I did, meaning like I started a mastermind. I did a round of a mastermind. I think it was like okay. It was not amazing in my personal opinion, which I have a little bit of like guilt over, but I've like
Mm,
moved on from that. And then I was trying to coach and call in people that were like not even um not appropriate like clientele. Like I wasn't even to the point where they were, and I was trying to, and that's when I stopped because one, it got hard. The online space got weird, and like end of 21 into 2022, you probably remember.
mhm,
And I felt weird. I was like, nothing's working. I'm pulling teeth. I am pushing so hard for what? Nothing works the same. And then when I had worked with this other coach, we did not ever really strategize or structure the Dallas Girl Gang side of things.
mm,
I had only built more on the coaching side. So when I stopped coaching, it was kind of a rude awakening of, well, shit, where else is my money going to come from? You know, and I had just kind of like let it ride and like keep going. And there's a lot of things I could have capitalized on in those years that I didn't because I was only focused on this one thing. And I don't think it's anybody's fault. I think, I hired a coach and I followed that coach and I did what she said. And then it only got me so far. And then I was like, no, I don't want to do this. And I wasn't taught
mhm.
how to like pivot or create other things or, keep multiple things going at one time in case I didn't want to do something anymore. So things like that. So, yeah, just to kind of expand on that a little bit more.
No, yeah, and right at that time, I mean, that was COVID time, so I'm sure in that same breath, you're dealing with kind of your epiphanies, if you will, as a business owner, but then what was the landscape like for Dallas Girl Gang when everything was shutting down?
So 2020, obviously we had some events canceled. That was like our third year of
Mm,
Boss Vision Conference. The year prior, I had had Jacqueline Johnson of Create Cultivate as our keynote. So I was like on a big old high from that. Then
yep.
COVID happens. Um, I had had some sponsors, and I was like, we still have to do something. I remember
Mhm.
this was so intense. This felt so intense. We had like, I think at least 100 registrations and did it online. And I remember going to my co-working space that I used to have a partnership with. We had a small little private office that was like 300 square feet on a Saturday by myself and sat in a room and hosted our conference virtually by myself. Like we had like 8 sessions, all these people, partners, and I was like, I didn't realize what I was getting in. I didn't realize what I was about to do. None of us did, right?
Mhm.
But I did that. So we still did it, but then, not being able to be in person during those years, though, 2020 was hard, but my coaching took off. So
Mm,
that's what I had available to focus on. So I kept the community going. I kept people talking. I kept people engaged. It's always been engaged, especially our Facebook group, which is crazy. Like still to this day, it's 45,000 people, 90 to 95% engagement rate, according to what
dang.
the stats are saying. And then in 2021, Texas opened up before most people, right?
Yep.
So we got back into events middle of that year. And then we held Boss Vision Conference again that year. And it did pretty well. And, you know, but it was everything changed after that as a kind of an events based business.
Yeah.
It's all different.
Yeah. It seems like the engagement aspect and just your not just you, but everyone in that community that you've built, it really is about intention. And I feel like so many event-based, whether you call it communities or conferences and things like that, kind of fell off after COVID because they couldn't keep that engagement and momentum happening. So how do you keep that engagement? What are some things that you do, whether as a leader or that you kind of instill in people who join to make them feel included, even if they're not coming to an event or, how does that happen?
It's super interesting. I will be totally honest. I feel like a little bit of how we started the Facebook group and when was a little bit of
Mm.
like right place, right time. So let's
Mhm.
remove that from the equation so everybody just know that when I'm talking about this. Um I One of the things that I've kept consistent, and when I talk about this engagement, I'm really talking about our Facebook group too. Instagram has
Mhm.
always been a weird game, right? We're all like, what the hell? Unless you really find this groove of creating hardcore, digestible, and viral and shareable content, then like we've been sitting at the same follower count pretty much for like 6 months, maybe like a
Mhm.
year. I don't know. And so with the Facebook group, it is so intently peer to peer that
Mhm.
from day one, I've always facilitated, okay, these different kind of engagement or conversation starters, like you see in a Facebook group. That was set, like that tone was set from 2017 on. I used to do one every day, Monday through Friday, and that was a lot.
Jeez.
And I would schedule them. Well, no, you couldn't even schedule them back then. We have kept our Wednesday post is Work It Wednesday. And you talk about what you're working on. You share your business. You drop your links. You say, I'm looking for a job, whatever. The other piece that I think our brand mission really comes through is like, you can sit with us and like, this is a safe space and be who you are. And everyone is rooting for you. Is once people started posting like really honest or like vulnerable
Mhm.
things in the group, it opens up this door that other people feel like they can too. And Facebook added this anonymous feature. So you can now post
Yep.
anonymously in a group. And I think that helps some people too. Now it gets really weird sometimes. Like I one day I likely will write a book and some of it will be just like stories of the shit we've seen over the years.
That's so funny. That was actually gonna be one of my rapid questions later is, like,
Let's do it.
what
Yeah.
was one of the craziest either things you've seen in an event or that you've witnessed in your space?
Yeah. We'll have to talk about it.
Okay.
Um but yeah, I mean, I think that and people are this is like what gets me so fired up no matter how hard some of this is sometimes. I think there's a special place for like community leaders or community based businesses that are leading and facilitating and doing everything for other people. There needs to be
Mhm.
a special place for us. And
Mhm.
maybe I should make that, I don't know. Um but people are desperate to be seen, to be known, to be loved. And as a person in general, for me, that's what I feel like I am called to do. Even if I don't, like, let's say by next year, Dallas Grogan's not even around or something. Whatever I do, that's what I'm going for. And so I've just seen this group of people, even basic stuff like, hey, I'm Jennifer. I just moved here with my fiance. We're getting married. Can you guys help me find like our wedding hashtag? Or, hey, I went to the doctor and I was asking these questions and they wouldn't really listen to me. And I'm really frustrated. Does anyone have like a recommendation or can someone help me? I feel
Mm.
crazy. I mean, I could go on. I could give you so many examples. People talking about like being in abusive relationships, people talking about um like depression, anxiety, people talking about postpartum, people talking about being a single mom or being a business owner and working a job, like the whole scope of the experience as a woman is
Mhm.
seen in this group. And so I think because of those couple things, that's what's curated the daily engagement with this group. Not to mention when people are looking for something or they need a recommendation or they need to research something, they're going to go to this group because they know it's people like them, probably like-minded people, a good chance. And there's 45,000 people in there, so they're going to find something, you know. Um Whether it's, again, like I said, anything from like a hairstylist to I need a therapist, you know.
Mhm.
Um so as far as engagement, like, and I think too with social, other social platforms like Instagram and TikTok, taking them not offline, you're not going offline, but taking them into a private space and
Yep.
saying, "Hey, if this resonates with you, like POV, you just found the people you've been looking for your whole life." And it shows, a clip of us at our event and people having fun or eating dinner, whatever. And then it's comment Facebook group so that you can have
Mhm.
these daily conversations with people and find your gang, right? Because not everybody's going to come to our event. We have a supper club membership, and our that's what we do for our events. It's once a month, and there's 60 members in there. Not everyone is going to be a member. Not everyone is going to come to our events. It's a hard thing too, but everybody will join a Facebook group, right? Or everybody
Absolutely.
will do something online. So
Yeah. Well, I think it speaks a lot, like you were saying, the intention behind it, because I think we've all seen people who start a community, air quote, and it's selfish and that shows. And so then you see someone like yourself who's built this, and the fact that you welcome people openly and then that precedent is set. It's like you can't go backwards on that. People now know like this is a safe space. We can talk, we can do this, and to facilitate that. But it almost makes me think too, like, have you had to experience times where you feel drained because you've given so much of yourself? I mean, I can only imagine that many people having access. I would be, just the people pleaser in me. I would struggle with that.
yes, I am shaking my head so hard. I'm an extrovert by nature, which is fine. I think it's great for what I do. Over especially becoming a mother and
Mhm.
my mind, my body changing, hormones changing, my attention is now, split between an additional human. I That capacity has shrunk quite a bit. And
Mhm.
so, even for example, last night we had supper club, and I was sitting next to like two people that I know really well. And even sitting there just having a simple conversation, I was like, I cannot fucking wait to get in my car and go home.
Yeah.
Not because I hate these people at all. That's not what it is. It's just, man, I worked all day and then I drove out here and I had to like change my clothes in the bathroom because I was in like, regular everyday clothes. And, then I'm running around getting the event set up. And then there was a problem with the restaurant that stressed me out. And I was like, oh my God. It, you know, it's, yeah. And then you want to be available for everybody. And another
Yeah.
example, and I'm really glad that our community feels this safe to like come to me or like come to our team email or our DMs and like ask questions. We had a member email us, and this happened 3 times within the last 2 weeks. Similar conversation. Someone emails me and says, "Hey Amanda, I'm pretty desperate. I just got laid off from my job. I need a job. Do you know of anything?" And literally saying, "I'm good at this, 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 this. Here's my resume. I've been doing this for 12
Mm.
years, blah, blah, blah." And it breaks my heart because I know how freaking crazy everything is right now. But that continues to like take a piece of me.
Yep.
And I want that, my nature is still want to help. I want to find a solution for people. I want to help because I do have this network of people, this network of businesses and people, B2B and B2C if we're talking business terms, that I could help. I can't help everyone.
Mhm.
And I had to learn, I've learned that in many different ways. But yeah, it definitely takes a lot out of me, and what I've had to be careful about is, like, even in today, because last night we had an event and my husband had to pick up my son from school and then have him all night and do nighttime and, solo parent for a while, and apparently he, like, pooped in the bathtub while I was gone.
Oh, hate that.
Love that. Um, and so, like, that leaves me feeling guilty, and then I'm empty when I come home. Like,
Mhm,
I've
mhm.
given so much to other people and wanting to, like, let people be seen and, like, ask them questions and get to know them and things like that. Anyway, I'm kind of talking in circles, but it takes a lot out of me, but at the same time, people tell me every single time we have an event, every time I meet someone, like, at a coffee shop and they recognize, like, who I am or whatever, that some reason of why this has impacted them or how it's
Mm,
impacted them.
and that's your fuel. Your
And
fuel.
that's my fuel and what keeps me going. At the same time, this business model is very difficult to continue to monetize in this current state of things. So it feels like it's getting increasingly hard to do what I love and
Mhm.
do what I want to do and help this community as a community based business model, which, if you are listening and you are this, you get this. It's this incredible tug of war between what's good for my wallet and what is good for my community, unfortunately.
Mm.
And that's not always the case, but it it's this constant battle. And so that's where I just wanted to be, like, super honest as we talk about this today. Like, that's where we're sitting right now. And, but that is my fuel, though, because people, as cheesy as it sounds, like, this is changing people's lives because they're not lonely anymore and they're finding what they need.
I love that you are it seems like even just from hearing how you started this and then now being in this environment and our economy and all the things, it seems like you feel so comfortable in that seat of like, when I need to pivot, I'll pivot. Or when I need to figure it out, like we're gonna figure it out, which I think is scary for a lot of people to have that mindset because we want to have a
Hmm.
plan. I just that resonated with me because yeah, a lot of people would throw in the towel.
Yeah. And I mean, I've had some hard conversations with myself and with my husband, who's my biggest supporter. He reminds me, he's like, I work for DGG. Like, I just like, because he actually did used to run our Facebook group for like a year and a half, and people
Oh,
thought it was
wow.
me. He would log into my page, and run it from his account, or from my account. But he's like, I work for DGG. I was on call tonight. You know, I like you got to go, and so I have Nash duty, and
Yeah.
he is my biggest supporter. He does hate to see me struggle or see when I, am drained by people or see when, it does seem hard or like, you know, when a brand says no to sponsoring something or partnering with us or things like that. So it's hard because he doesn't come from entrepreneurship. I don't either, but that is totally not his thing. And he's like, I want a paycheck and I want health insurance, which I understand. I get it,
Mhm.
and it sounds nice, but um, I yeah, it's just one of those things that's like, you know we're going to figure out what we need to do. And regardless, like, this is what I'm meant to show up to do for people. And yeah,
And however that looks.
yeah, however that looks.
What are some ways that you outside of, the day-to-day stuff with running Dallas Girl Gang and your marketing business, what are some ways that you have figured out how to prioritize your marriage and motherhood and like how can you fit it in? We were just talking about before we started the babysitting thing and I'm like, that yeah, date nights would be great. Like regular date nights.
Uh huh. Uh huh. I'm actually like really, really proud of my sister. So my sister has a daughter who's 6 months younger than my son. So it's amazing. They're like so close in age. And when she had Riley, like 2 months later, she was like, date night, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, date night? I've had a
What
date
is
in
that?
8 months. What are
Yeah.
you talking about? And I was like, what am I doing? Wait, like I could have my parents watch him. We could have our friends down the street watch him. We could find a babysitter. And so and we've always been like we're not like fancy date night goer outers. It's
Mhm.
we prioritize spending time together for sure. But anyway, I think prioritizing as a mom, as a wife, and then for myself has been the biggest challenge, but I've also had the biggest wake
Mm.
up calls to it in the last couple of years. I struggled pretty hard with postpartum depression, anxiety after I had him. Um,
Same.
it wasn't long, but it was rough, and that was one of the big things. I knew, okay, I don't need to rush my mornings. I don't need to rush
Mm.
through my meals. I need to go outside today.
Yes.
I'm working in my house all the time. Even though I'm around people a lot for what I do, if you think about it throughout the course of a month, we're doing one event a month typically. Maybe like this month we had to split it into two because only one place could hold so many people and vice versa. So I've been out to two events this month back to back. I'm good on some social time for a while, right? Um but but in the in between times, I do need to prioritize like seeing my family, having coffee with a friend that's not always business related. Um maybe going out with my husband on a date, or sometimes like we'll get invited like influencer invites for like restaurants. So I'm like, "Hey,
Mhm.
this is one we can go to. Let's find a babysitter." Um finding friends that will help with Nash. Sometimes I feel bad, but at the same time, I mean, it's just like with him going to daycare full time. I'm a better mom, a better wife, a better business owner, and and he loves it, and he's learning and he's growing and he's socializing. So I feel like it's a win-win. We're very blessed we can do that. I know a lot of people can't do that. I kept him home with me full time for 13 months.
Yeah.
So this has only been this last year of
Yeah.
him going. Um the other thing I would say, and that I just taught a little bit on in a workshop I did, is like this is what I did when I was a teacher. I would we would go back to school in August. I would look at the school calendar. I would say, "Great, I have this many PTO days this year. You don't get many as a teacher, and only some of them roll over." So I was like, "Great, I have 8 days this year. Here's when I'm going to take my first 3. I'm going to schedule them, one in
Mm.
September, one in October, one in November, submit them to say, "Hey, I'm going to be out these days." Like plan ahead because I know I'm going to
Mhm.
need it. Especially when I was running my business at the same time, I was like, I know I'm going to need a day to like actually work on my business, but I also know I'm going to need a day to like rest or go see my sister or take
Do
Zach
nothing.
lunch or do nothing, right?
Yeah.
And especially pre-kids. And this was like, again, this was pre-kids. Now as a business owner too, for example, my sister's husband was gone all week on a business trip. He's been gone since Sunday, and she's never been solo parent without him that long.
Mm.
And her daughter goes to like Mother's Day out like twice a week. So I said, "Hey," she was stressed out about being by herself all week. So I said, well, maybe we can get together and do like a play date. And so I said, you know what? Why don't I just take the whole day off on Wednesday? We'll play hooky. I'll keep Nash home from daycare. The kids can play, they can take a nap. And then that's what we did. So Wednesday this week, she came over. We had a play date, we had lunch. And then the kids took a nap and we just rotted on the couch for 2 hours and it was
Love that.
awesome. And, you know, did I still have stuff to do? Yes, I did. Was I a little, always thinking about my to-do list? Kind of, but it was very good for me to just take a day off. And so and now I'm like, we need to do this more often. Like our kids need to see each other. We need to see each other. And we usually do at least like once a month. But that too, just planning ahead for it because I know life is gonna happen and I'm gonna need some kind of
Yep.
break instead of just waiting until you're totally burned out and you're like, well, shit.
Yeah, and then trying to squeeze it into chaos. I really started doing that this year too. Well, like end of last year.
Mhm.
And this year we just got married last year, but we've been
Mm,
together, this will be 7 years. So getting married, it like changed a lot of things and you just it feels different. And so we were,
mhm.
learning how to prioritize all those and I really have to do that exact same thing or else I will just do the absolute most and try to
Yep.
fit in meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting or I would pre-schedule a time off for this and then I would something
Move
comes
it.
up, oh, I have some time here and just move things. So now I've been doing what you just said where I'll go like I have a 3-day period scheduled in March and April where I am just off. If I decide to work, great. And if that's the case, I'll work on my business. Or if I want to go out to lunch or just do nothing. I think that is so helpful because that even though you're not necessarily scheduling out everything, that
Mhm.
priority of I'm just going to put it on the calendar, not put anything on there and then see how I feel. And maybe if I want to work,
Yeah.
great. If I want to relax, great. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
I think every business owner needs to put that time in.
Also, my biggest thing, I talked about this on my workshop the other day too. When I quit teaching, I was like, I do not want to take a meeting before 10 a.m. because my whole life I had to get up at 6 a.m., be at school at 7 or 7:30 and work a long day, be up, forever. No, I don't want a meeting at 8 a.m. I don't want a meeting at not even 9, especially now that I take him to daycare. Going there and back takes at least 40 minutes. Then I need to like eat breakfast. God forbid I want to like do a workout in the living room or something, or I probably should do the dishes or something.
Yep.
Like, I don't feel bad about that. It's my favorite thing to say,
Yeah.
hey, here's when I can take meetings.
Yeah, I don't take any Zoom calls on Mondays because
Me either.
notoriously I will do so, I'll have the whole weekend, we're busy, whatever, or I'll, drink or something. And then Monday
Hmm.
around, I'm like, I have a 2 hour Zoom meeting scheduled. Why?
What did I
So, I mean, I'll
do?
take discovery calls, but yeah, no Zoom meetings ever on
Nope.
Mondays. It's a no. And that's the
Nope.
beauty of being entrepreneurs. We get to decide that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Same.
amazing.
Hmm.
I would love to switch gears because you mentioned
Mm.
earlier about like the brand partnerships
Mm-hmm.
and you saying, oh, dealing with that when someone says no or things like that. And obviously, with what you've scaled, I'm sure brand sponsors, partnerships is a huge part of executing your events. And
Mm-hmm.
even like your newsletter, I'm subscribed to, you have sponsors on the newsletter.
Mm-hmm.
How let's go this way. What are some
Hmm.
tips for people like super applicable who are trying to get sponsors? Maybe it's for their own events, maybe it's for their newsletter. What are some things that you've implemented that have helped secure those?
One, I think if you're thinking about, ooh, I want to get a sponsor or ooh, I want to do this brand deal, you really need to ask yourself why.
Mm,
If you want to do it because it looks cool, okay. If you want to do it because you want to make money, okay. Those are pretty weak reasons. If you truly have a valuable platform, valuable audience, valuable resources or presence or skills that you see a very strong alignment with in the
mhm,
brand that you're looking at, then that is a very good reason to pursue a partnership with a brand. Like everybody and their mother has a freaking Stanley cup. I
yeah,
I would call myself an influencer. There's a small alignment with if I were to pitch Stanley. I own one. I like the brand. I'm not like a
yeah,
crazy fanatic. And my audience might like react well to it, but half of my audience probably already has one, to be honest. And
mhm,
it's not gonna do much. Like,
Yep.
if I get a promo code and it gives them a discount, because like you don't typically get a discount on Stanleys or something, or like now they sell them in stores, like they're not usually on sale there. Maybe, or maybe if we did some huge giveaway or something. But Stanley is not going to look at my personal brand and be like, they're an ideal partner. They're just going to see me as,
Mhm.
oh, it's like another little, it's another micro influencer or something. Um,
Mhm.
if, one of the, actually, before we hopped on, I was following up on some pitches and sending some new ones. There is a co-working space that, there's one in Dallas. There's different locations across the country, and we're very aligned. I've seen them partner with some other brands similar to mine across the country. And so for the last 7 years, I will pitch anybody. I will shoot that shot. I will slide into the DMs. I will send the email. I will follow up 6 times, especially if it's something I really believe in. And so I slid into their DMs. They said, "This sounds really interesting. Let's email this person." And she said, "Hey, I'm going to run this up the ladder for the Dallas market, or to our Dallas team, see what they think." And I said, "Perfect." And a co-working space is a perfect match for the Dallas Girl Gang platform. One, there's probably a lot of remote workers in our population that would benefit from using it, even just a day pass to get out of the house. Two, we have a huge entrepreneur population as well. Even when I was working my full-time job, we had a partnership with another co-working space, Common Desk, at the time when it was a brand new location in Addison. So after I would teach at school, I would leave and go to the co-working space
Mhm.
because I would get like 2 or 3 hours of business work done. And especially during COVID, it was like awesome because a lot of people weren't there. But that's a very aligned partner for us. You have to think about what's in it for the brand.
Mm.
When you approach brands via email or via DMs, if all you do is talk about, "Hi, I'm so and so. Here's what I do. Here's why I'm awesome. Here are all my stats. Here are all my numbers, blah 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 blah." They're going to get a little, it's like kind of white noise, because
Mhm.
there is nothing in there that tells them what's valuable to them. If I go to Common Desk, for example, and say, "Hey guys," this is actually a prime example. "Hey, I know we partnered like several years ago. I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you guys even, that person still works here anymore. Here's what I see. I think that what I'm seeing in your social and your email, you look like you're trying to do XYZ.
Mm.
I have a couple of ideas of how we could help support that through blank blank blank. Does that sound like it aligns with you? If so, if any of this is resonating, go ahead and schedule a call with me right here and let's chat." And then sometimes, if I feel like it's appropriate, I will throw in and say, "Hey, just for reference, PS, here's our media kit for like a refresher of information." And again, if I feel it's appropriate to send this, I'll send our pricing guide as well. That is a perfect way to show the brand, "Hey, I see what you're doing. I've done my research. I'm not just pitching you just because. Here's why I think we align. I have some ideas. You don't have to give away all your ideas, because sometimes if you have
Mm.
really good ideas, they'll just like take them." And then say, "Does this align, or does this sound interesting to you? Let's chat about it if so." That
You
is a
basically just gave
prime example.
everyone the pitch, like
Yeah,
the
you're welcome.
template. Everyone rewind, copy that down word for
Yep.
word.
Yep. Turn your speaker on and turn the little voice thing on ChatGPT and have it type it out for you.
No lie. Yeah, that was very valuable. What about whenever, I mean, you kind of mentioned this earlier, but
Mm.
when it's a brand you feel so aligned with and passionate about and they do give you that no. Are you just tabling it? Is it, just wrong time? How do you navigate that?
So there's a couple ways. I love talking about this. I'm so glad you asked me these questions. There's a couple ways I would go about it. When I get a no, first of all, it depends on how the no sounds. If they
Mhm.
say, "Hello, we are not interested," and that's it, then honestly, I might say,
Goodbye.
"Hey, well, hold on. I would say, hey, thank you so much for responding. I really appreciate it. 'Cause sometimes they won't even respond, right? And sometimes you have the wrong email or the wrong person. There's a whole, I could go into that forever, but that's going to take forever. If they say that, then I would say, hey, I'd love to hear why. Is it
Mm.
a budget thing? Are you not aligned? Or are y'all just not interested in partnerships right now? If you could give me that feedback, that would be so helpful to me because I see it's really valuable that for us to potentially partner, but I totally respect the fact that you are not interested. So that's, if they answer that, then see that answer. Option two,
Yep.
if they're like, hey, we just don't have the budget, say, totally understand. Or let's say they say no to your pitch of your like $4,000 proposal or something. Great. What is your budget? Do you have
Mhm.
a budget in mind that you would like to keep within? Because especially if they've already expressed interest that they do want to work
Mhm.
with you, they have something, right? They've got something to spend.
A little negotiation can happen.
Oh, that's what I was going to say too. When you pitch brands, there is always room for negotiation. Do not
Yep.
stop when they say no or when they don't answer you or when they say we're just not sure or can you do less, blah blah blah. You can always modify your price, but don't do the same amount of work.
Mhm.
It is also the biggest thing. If they say, "Hey, we're just, we're not really looking at it right now, maybe Q3 or whatever," then say, "Hey, that sounds great. I'm going to put it on my calendar to follow up with you, after 4th of July, and I look forward to hearing from you again. Hope you guys have a great week." And then you set a reminder on your calendar. Follow up with Rare Beauty. I don't know. And do what you said you're going to do too.
Mhm.
Sometimes you don't and it falls off. That's okay. I highly recommend using a platform called Yesware, YesWaer.
I'll
They
link
need to
it.
make they need to make me an affiliate. They don't have an affiliate program.
Pitch 'em.
I, I have tried. They're very archaic in the way that they do things, but the
They're like,
platform is
"What's an
really great.
affiliate?"
Yes. But their platform is great. And you can basically schedule a reminder to follow up with that email so that you don't have to go dig for it.
Mm.
Um, it's awesome. So though that is what I would do if they say no, but also think about this. It may be the way that you positioned your first email or the first interaction. If you
Mhm.
didn't hook them in enough or show the value, they might just say no, thank you, or we don't have the budget. And that might be a lie because they're just trying to be nice. Like
Yeah.
if they're really interested and they have some money, they will figure out a way.
Yep. If
Typically.
it's worth their time, they will figure it out.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'm gonna laugh right now. I'm pretty sure I, like, pitched to you, like, 3 years ago to do
What?
something, like, speak or something because I saw it in our DMs, I think, and I was, like, scrolling, because now we've, been back and forth a couple times, like, on stories or from Boss Vision Conference or whatever,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Who did I think I had the balls to even do that?" Because at the time, I was
Right.
not at that level yet, and I'm pretty sure it was like, "Hey, would love to speak." And you're like, "I think we're okay right now." Like, I had
Stop.
no value to give.
Wait. Wait. Is it on our Boss
I don't
Vision
know if it was
Instagram?
on I don't know if it was on Dallas Girl Gang or your personal one, but I did see it, and I just LOL to myself, and I'm like, "Ugh, for growth, baby." Like,
For
we
growth,
all grow.
baby. Oh my gosh. Okay, it's not on my personal one. I'll have to go find it.
Yeah, you'll have to find it or I'll go back and try to screenshot because it just made me giggle. But it's exactly what you said of positioning it. Where is the value for you? Because if there's not any at all in the pitch, it's just, it's just extra fluff in the inbox.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
probably get all the time.
And if you have like a substantial following or something, they might take another look if you send a very generic email.
Mhm.
Maybe. Um, but like if I was an influencer with like a million followers and I emailed Stanley Cups and said, "Hey, do you guys want to collab?" They might take a look
Yeah.
at that. But because I got a little proof to back it up and it kind of speaks for itself, right? But I'm so interested in this now and what you said. Trying to see if I can
I'm not
find it.
embarrassed. I'm just like, "Oh, that was cute, Taylor. Like, that was so
Ooh,
cute of you."
a funny segment. If I ever go back to doing our podcast again, I had a podcast for 4 years called the Girl Gang Podcast, and I would do like embarrassing pitches that I've sent before because
Love that.
it, I've sent pitches with the wrong brand name because I copied and pasted it. Like, oh my god, it's it's quite something.
Okay,
Anyways,
one more question on the brand pitches. How, and this might be a loaded question, but how do you price those? Like, if you're the one pitching and you want them to pay you, you basing it off of a model? Are like, I think people get really stuck on that and they don't wanna
hmm
undervalue themselves, but then they also don't wanna scare the brand away with some really big number. How do you kind of make that decision when you're pitching?
sure. You can always start at some kind of base, like do a little bit of research and try to find, like, let's just say you're a solo person and you're a creator and a business owner or something. Maybe go look around and see what other people are charging. Like, do some research.
Mhm.
Influencers are talking all the time about how they price things. Couple of resources for people. Um, there's a platform now called FYPM, and it stands for "Fuck You, Pay Me."
I
and
love that.
there's a tech founder that founded this company, and basically you can go search. It's like a search engine. Say, oh, I wonder what Dunkin' Donuts is up to. And people can submit reviews of brand deals they have done with that brand and how much they paid them.
Heck yeah.
And it's amazing. Um, or they could say, hey, I did a campaign with L'Oreal. It was gifted only, and here's my experience. Or I did a campaign with Chevrolet and they paid me $15,000 and it was a bad experience, or like whatever. It's
Mm.
amazing. So it's FYPM. You'll just have to Google or search
I'll
that.
link
I
it in the
forgot. Yeah,
description.
I forgot the website.
Yeah.
There's also um my she spoke at the conference. Kristen Busquette. Uh she I think her Instagram is K Books, like BOUKS or QS, I think. And she coaches creators and things like that. So she talks about pricing and stuff there. For her, and I think she has like 20,000 followers or something, and she talks about how much she charges. So do some research. Second, run the numbers on your cost of doing business.
Mhm.
I actually personally need to like reevaluate this for us because I've just been rolling with the prices and kind of incrementally over the years, like increasing them for just like cost of living sense.
Yep.
But I think I need to do another analysis because of the deliverables, the labor from my team that it's going to take to execute. If it's tied to an event, that's more. And if I have to do it, like if they want me in the content, that's more work on my plate. And then also, you know, social media is so different, and you never know if like a paid campaign is going to like flop online
Mhm.
or do really
Mhm.
well. And they're think about this too. They're not just paying for your audience or your platform. They need to be paying for your time, your talent, your expertise. If you have equipment, if they like the way that you shoot content, maybe you're like really into all your gear. Um, there's another girl I follow called her name is Taylor Lloyd. She is out of Austin, I believe, and she is a big like tech person, all the cameras,
Mm.
all the lights, all the digital stuff. And now like that is her niche. That's what she influences about. So if you need a camera recommendation as a creator, you go follow Taylor. If you need to know about this new editing software, Taylor probably knows. Stuff like that. So you'd be thinking about how much does it cost you to do it, and
Mhm.
even your time, and then price it out. Um, I'll give an example. If it's events based, so our conference is a good example. Conferences and that are 100 people plus are probably minimum gonna cost anywhere from 20 to 40,000 base. Last year, and I'll be super transparent, last year's Boss Vision conference cost about 47,000 to produce.
Mhm.
Um, and if you're doing anything bigger, it's going to be way more expensive. The more people, the more food, the bigger venue, the more production you need, all the things.
Yep.
So, how much does it cost you to host that event? Then, if you're trying to get it all sponsored, that's how much in sponsorships you need to get. Then think about what can I give these brands that's going to be really beneficial? Is it marketing placements? Is it lead generation? Is it content that they can then own after
Mm.
we create it? That is huge. Brands
Yep.
want to own the content you create so they can run ads and do whatever they want with it, which I love to do. That's an easy thing for me to do, especially if it's just basic organic UGC content. Um, are you customizing a backdrop for them? Are you putting like having a vinyl logo printed and put somewhere for them? Are you uh all of those factors. So for us, for example, for Boss Vision Conference, now our sponsorship minimums are like 5,000
Mhm.
because I can kind of measure the value of the placement that they're going to get and awareness and brand association online and in person at the event. Um and I don't create our conference sponsorships now to just be about that day. The deliverables of the partnership expand across a 3 6 1 year contract. No,
Right.
6 month 1 year contract. So how can you, if you're doing it for an event, how can you spread it out and really help impact the brand long term instead of just this one day? Brands aren't going to necessarily pay for just one day or one event anymore. Maybe if it's like less
Mhm.
than $1,000, maybe um they're just not going to. That's not how it works anymore. Um yeah, so that's an example. Again, if you're doing a brand partnership and it's not tied to an event and it's just like digital creation or something else, then there are ways to calculate, and again, like I said, you can search those other people, calculate the time it goes into it, the work, the labor, if you have other people doing it, if you're outsourcing, if you're renting a studio to shoot, things like that. And then
Yeah.
what is your time worth? Are you worth $50 an hour? Do you feel like, oh, this is really worth like $600 an hour? I don't know. So that is something hopefully to help people get started.
Yeah. That's awesome. Very helpful. Okay, we're gonna go into the last little bit. So we're gonna do rapid fire because these are always fun.
Yay.
Okay, we'll do the one that I asked you earlier. What is the craziest thing you've seen or experienced in your event space,
Oh
your
my
community?
gosh. Oh my gosh. I remember the first time, because it's actually happened like twice. Someone brought a dog to our conference, like, and it was at a hotel, and I was like, "You can't do that. Like, why didn't you ask me?" Like, all of a sudden, I heard like, I was in the main room and I heard a bark, and I was like, "What the fuck? Is there a dog in here?" And there was a dog. That was crazy.
Now
Um,
you're like, pets are not allowed, was it a service animal or something?
I'm trying to remember. I think it was like an emotional support dog, but like didn't have a vest. They didn't tell me. They didn't ask. Which I mean, anyway. But like, it's a hotel. We
Right.
can't have some dog like pooping on the carpet. I gotta pay for that. Like, I'm not gonna get my deposit back. Um,
Uh,
that was so funny. Another time was there is a person here in Dallas who has tried to blacklist a bunch of business owners. She's psycho. It's been on the news, all the things. That's why I don't care if I talk about it. Um, she like scams people, this whole thing. Uh,
Jeez.
One time she got upset that I was also hosting an event that had something to do with like her what she does too. It was not a big deal. Like she didn't invent this thing that we were doing. Anyway, she felt threatened by it. I guess this was also like 5 years ago. So we were not like a large community at this time. Um and it got so weird, like this other company was like, "Hey, I don't think we can work with you anymore because she said like you tried to do this." And I was like, "What? I don't even know who this person is. Like, I don't even know. I've never seen her social. I don't know who she is." It's so crazy. But what is the weird thing that happened was, fast forward like 6 months, she shows up in person to one of our events, and I was like, "Oh my god, what has happened?" Like is she gonna
To
like
make a
assault?
scene
I
or to
don't know.
just
I didn't know what was happening. And she kind of like, she came with friends. They like came in and she stayed there. And I was like, what is she doing? Like, I pretend I was like over here trying to do other stuff and work our event. And I was like, why is she here? She kind of corners me and she was like, hey, I just want to say, like, no hard feelings about blah, blah, blah. Like, didn't say sorry. Like, it was an apology with no apology.
right,
And
right.
she just said a bunch of stuff that didn't mean anything. And I was like, what just happened? And I was literally like eating lunch. I was like in the back behind this like um rolling wall thing, and I was trying to eat lunch, and I'm like stuffing my face, and she's trying to talk to me, and like then she hugs me, and but it felt so condescending, and she was just like, oh, like, it's okay, no hard feelings, like, you'll get it, you'll learn the lay of the land. And I'm
You'll
like,
figure this out.
I was like, what just happened? Like, I don't even know who you are. I've never met you before until now. Anyway, it was crazy. And I don't know what she's doing to this day. So,
Okay, I was
but
gonna
she,
ask, have you
yeah,
seen her
no,
since?
no, she like blocks everybody on social if she
Of
like has a problem
course.
with you. So I don't
Maybe
know
I
what she's
need to,
up to.
after off air, you need to tell me who it is so I can avoid.
Bro, yeah. Oops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me know off air. Okay.
So funny.
Let's do one industry trend that you hate or that just needs to go away.
What industry? Like, mm,
Could be the digital space or events community, a trend that is just you're over it.
I think this is probably there might be a consensus on this when people are like talk about six figure this, seven figure this, or 10K months and this and this and like do this and you can do this like me too. It makes me want to barf. Uh
Over it.
I mean,
Profit-based
and
claims essentially.
maybe it's because I've not made seven figures and maybe I'm just jealous. But
I
let's
don't
be
think
honest,
so.
like I don't know that I want to make seven figures. Like that sounds amazing, but I don't know if I want to do that. Anyway, um also disco balls are driving me nuts. Like disco balls and like pictures and like maybe at events if it's like actually serving its purpose of a disco ball, but like just to have it there, I think it's had its moment. I think we all need to move
Yeah.
on. Like there are plenty of other decor ideas. There are amazing event rental business out there that would love to throw all their disco balls away. I promise you. That's what they're telling me.
I'm obsessed. Okay, guys, you heard it here. We are over disco balls.
They're
Goodbye.
out. Disco balls are out.
Okay, two more. What is a business expense you will always splurge on?
Ooh. Hmm. I don't know.
Maybe you don't splurge on your business expenses.
I'm not a big splurger anymore.
Okay.
Um Splurge. I mean, if we yeah, I don't know. Maybe travel. Like,
Mm.
for example, me and Danielle at Playbook Marketing in our agency, we always decide or we decided when we started, we always wanted to go to one big event together every year. And so like this year in July, we're gonna go to the Create Cultivate event in Los Angeles. And
Mm.
we decided like let's get the VIP ticket and we're gonna fly and we're gonna get a hotel room together and the whole thing. Um because that is really important to us to like have a big experience, get out there, go, be able to make content, learn all the things.
Yeah, I also feel like sometimes when you not necessarily splurge, but in that scenario where you're like making it into something, you also, I think, sometimes get more out of it because you've invested time, money, resources. You know what I
I'm gonna
mean?
make
Like
it
it's not
worth
like
it.
you're, yeah, you might as well make it worth it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, last one. You have 24 hours in Dallas to show someone the best time ever. Where are you taking them?
Mm. Keep in mind, I'm not a party girl, not a big drinker. So if that's your vibe, I can send you some amazing friends of mine that can probably show you a great time. But this is what I would do. I would take you to I would just do like a coffee shop tour. To
Okay.
be honest, I would take you to Clyde Warren Park, which is in Dallas. It is like downtown, but it sits on an overpass of a bridge, and there's a highway under it. It's really cool. Um,
Okay.
so Clyde Warren Park, there's cool food trucks. It's a beautiful park.
Love.
Um, the Dallas Museum of Art really is awesome. It's
Mm.
wonderful. I would take you to, if you're into shopping, North Park Mall is beautiful. They have a beautiful new Kendra Scott shop in there, and it's the most beautiful
Ooh.
Kendra Scott store I've ever been in. We worked with them last year, and it's beautiful. Let's see. I would take you to like several of my favorite coffee shops around here. There's a La La Land, Kind Cafe, of
Love La La
course.
Land.
We love Lala. Wayward Coffee is amazing. Ola Cafe in Bishop Arts. The Salty Donut also in Bishop Arts.
Ooh, they have a
And
salty donut in Austin, and we went, like, a few
yes.
years ago, and it
Oh,
is
it's so good.
so amazing.
It's so good. I literally just emailed them again today and said, "So are we partnering again or what? Because I miss your donuts." Um, they're they're so good. And I would take you to this shop called Talking Out of Turn. It is the cutest like accessories and cups and desk accessories and pens and notebooks. They have cheeky sayings on it. Um like I have this mug in there. It's like a glass clear mug with cute font and designs on it. It says like rise and shine bitches. Like it's super cute. It's just a
Cute.
fun girly vibey store. I'm trying to think. And then I would probably take you to where we had dinner last night for supper club, 60 Vines,
Oh, yes, that's where you had the what was it?
the
At the
happy
conference
hour.
was the happy hour, yep.
Yeah,
I
for
love that place.
VIP. Yep.
I didn't even realize we have one in Houston, although ours is not I think we might have 1 or 2, but it was way smaller, and it didn't really have the vibe y'all have in Dallas.
The one we went to at the Crescent Court in Uptown is big. It's very big. Um,
Huge.
it's huge. And then they also have one in Plano here, which is also pretty big. But yep, 60 Vines, hands down. They have the best roasted Brussels sprouts.
Yep,
Holy
had
crap.
them. And the
Oh
pork chop?
my gosh. The pork chop. Last night I had the salmon. Never had it before. It was very good. And we also they brought us an olive oil cake and then cheesecake. And I definitely ate the cheesecake and it was the bomb.
And
So
they
good.
have, like you can make your own charcuterie board because we did that
Yep.
when we were there.
We did charcuterie. Um, Man, it's just and it's so yummy. I highly recommend if you go with like a group of people, do family style and split the bill with
Mm,
everybody. It's so much better to like get a bunch of dishes because they have so much good stuff.
I love that. That sounds like a
Mm,
great day in Dallas. I
I
need to
know.
come back. It's not
Yeah.
that far. I mean, it's only 4 hours, so
Yeah.
I need to come
Yeah.
visit and come to a Dallas Girl Gang event
That'll be
other than the
fun.
conference.
Yes, that'd be fun. We'd love to have you.
Well, thank you for being on the podcast and
Thank
sharing
you.
all the knowledge and the word for word pitch script. I'll have all the links below, but for those who don't really know you, plug your links and are you taking clients? Where can they join Dallas Girl Gang?
Yeah. Yeah. So my personal is Amanda's in Dallas on Instagram. Link in bio there for all things like my personal brand, like affiliate links that I have, or if you're interested in a VIP day, I'm working with founders that, like I said earlier, if you need to get out of the weeds, you want to really structure a good business around your life, all those things. There's a lot more into it, but I'm taking some VIP days this year, just a few. I'm not like again not going full back into coaching, but I would love to help some founders this year. Um, DallasGirlGang.com or at DallasGirlGang on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. I need to get back on. I haven't been on in a couple months. Whoops. And then bossvisioncon.com if you want to get on the wait list or if you know brands or sponsors that want to come partner. And that's all. Oh, and Playbook Marketing, the Playbook Co. Everything's linked in my bios of all the things, but
Perfect.
yeah,
I'll have it below too. And when this year will the conference be in September again?
it's looking like September, and we will let you know very soon.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
Well, thank you
so
for being
good.
here, Amanda.
Thank you so much, Taylor.